Here we go.
Here we go. I am going to get to why I now actually feel sorry for LeBron James. And I'm going to get to why this Caitlyn Clark situation just gets stranger and stranger. And I'll definitely get to how I have been so privileged to work closely with Shannon and Sterling Sharpe on national TV. And I will conclude today with annihilating Happy Gilmore 2. Can't wait. But first up on today's Skip Bayless Show, brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. By far the biggest story in all of sports, Micah versus Jerry. Shots fired, shots returned, trade demanded. Oh my God. Do I ever have a whole bunch of new thoughts on this? First thought, Micah Parsons has turned into the perfect Dallas Cowboys superstar of the last 30 years. Overhyped, overrated, soon to be cap-crushingly overpaid. And that's because even though I have demonstrated and detailed how Micah Parsons has not earned becoming the highest paid non-quarterback ever, has not performed at that level remotely consistently, has not consistently proven to be a game wrecker, especially when it matters in biggest games. Jerry Jones does have a 36-year ownership history of consistently overpaying his stars after lengthy contract battles that keep Jerry in the national spotlight throughout all of training camp. I assume this one will end the week before the regular season, with Micah finally getting pretty much what he wants from Granddaddy Jerry. But that brings me to something Jerry said deep into his 16-minute Q&A with reporters Saturday at Cowboy Camp. Now, I give you this, Jerry's quotes do get wackier and wackier, and maybe this one was dismissed as just another kooky quote from Jerry, but I don't think the media made nearly enough of this one. Jerry dropped a bombshell on Saturday that went widely unreported, unhyped. Now, Jerry had previously volunteered to the media that he did make an offer to Micah when Micah came to Jerry's office without his agent. That was back in March. Now, Micah confirmed he did talk to Jerry in Jerry's office back in March, but that he went into the conversation thinking it was supposed to be about leadership. That's what he was led to believe. And that it did turn into talking contract. Okay, so Micah did confirm that contract was discussed at this one-on-one meeting. But Saturday, Jerry tossed out a shocking key detail. Jerry said this, and I quote, "What y'all don't know is what I offered him, and it's a hell of a lot more than you think I did. That's what you don't know. But my point is, I reached. Make no mistake about it, I reached," said Jerry Jones. Then Jerry made reference to, and I quote, "guaranteeing somebody almost $200 million," close quotes. What? Wait a second. Hold the phone. Stop the presses. Did Jerry Jones tell reporters that back in March, one-on-one, he offered Micah Parsons almost $200 million guaranteed dollars? But that Micah said, "No, you'll have to negotiate with my agent"? Is that what Jerry said? I think that's exactly what Jerry said. Now, Jerry has made it clear over the last couple of years, he just hates dealing with agents. And on Saturday, to illustrate how much he hates agents, he told the story of negotiating a Des Bryant deal with Jay-Z and Rock Nation back in the day, and that Jay-Z, if I get Jerry straight on this one, Jay-Z promised Jerry that Dez would show up on time to every meeting, and that Jerry says that when Dez started to miss meetings during the regular season, after the contract had been signed, sealed, delivered, that Jerry would call Jay-Z each time Dez missed a meeting or was late to a meeting, and it got so bad that after a while, Jay-Z would not return Jerry's call. That was Jerry's way of illustrating how much he just doesn't like calling or dealing with agents. Can be hit and miss. And Rock Nation then posted a statement, I guess it was Sunday, that not only is that statement about what happened back in the Dez Bryant day false, but that Rock Nation said and dismissed it as comical. Okay. The point is, Jerry says, and he's being honest about this one. He's being right about this one. He says that most of the deals that he gets done with his big stars, his superstars, they are agreed to eye to eye, or sometimes on the phone, player to owner, man to man. Usually, of course, in these situations, when an owner is trying to cut out the agent, that's the owner's way of trying to take advantage of a star player who's naive to contractual trapdoors, to the fine print or the big picture of NFL deals. But with Jerry, it's just different. I know Jerry, it's different. Jerry ultimately sees himself as a father figure, as now maybe a grandfather figure to his star, the top of the top players. He spoils them. He caves into them. Often ultimately gets taken to the cleaners and the bank by his superstars. See them all, just going back to Emmett and Dion, and then Dak, CD, Micah, Zach Martin. We could go on and on. The truth is, Jerry is the one who often needs an objective, unbiased agent negotiating for him. He needs a GM or an assistant GM. That's why his son Steven has helped negotiate so many of the deals below the Micah Dak level. But as you well know, Jerry, he doesn't have a GM. He doesn't have an assistant GM because he is the GM and the assistant GM all rolled into one. And on the biggest deals, going back to the Emmett deal in 1993, the Dion deal ahead of the 1995 season, Jerry wants to represent himself. He's in the middle of the biggest deals, including this one. Now, another point about Jerry, and I did spend, I'm not exaggerating, hundreds of hours with and around Jerry for those 3 books that I wrote back in the 1990s on the Dallas Cowboys. He doesn't fabricate when he's talking money. I haven't known him to even exaggerate about an offer or any kind of dollar figure. Those are sacred to Jerry. Handshakes are sacred to Jerry when it comes to negotiating. He may flim-flam about other things, but not about dollars and cents. If he says he offered Micah almost $200 million guaranteed dollars, I believe Jerry on this one. But Jerry said Micah would not accept, and that Jerry took the offer right off the table after that one meeting back in March. It sounds to me like Jerry was hurt, maybe deeply hurt, that Micah wouldn't accept his eye-to-eye, man-to-man offer of that magnitude. Jerry's pride was stung, and I think it's still stung. Jerry said he reached, meaning he plunged for a player he loves like a grandson on and off the field. So if that's true, and I believe it is, Micah Parsons made a big mistake that day back in March. Micah should have said, Jerry, you've got a deal. He should have reached across that desk and shaken Jerry's hand, just right there. Then he should have walked around that desk and he should have hugged Granddaddy Jerry. I mean, think about this. Almost $200 million guaranteed would have made Micah Parsons the 7th highest paid player in the entire National Football League, including quarterbacks. Almost $200 million guaranteed would have made him higher paid than all but 6 quarterbacks. Micah Parsons, almost $200 million guaranteed, would have broken the bank and smashed the record for any defensive player ever and for any non-quarterback on offense. Smashed, obliterated. Man, Micah should have taken the money and run. Damn the fine print. Sure, it would have helped his future free agent power to do 4 years instead of 5. So I don't know what those terms were, but almost $200 million guaranteed would have rendered 4 or 5 years, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Wouldn't have really mattered. Okay. So let's just presume, for the sake of this argument, let's say Jerry offered Micah $190 million guaranteed, and that's why he said it was almost $200 million. What if it was $190? Myles Garrett got only $124 million guaranteed. Nick Bosa, $123 million. We drop all the way down to TJ Watt, got only $108 million guaranteed, and way on down to Max Crosby, only $92 million guaranteed. Micah, $190. I can make an airtight case that all 4 of those guys have consistently outperformed Micah Parsons. Yet, again, let this compute. Micah was offered by Jerry Jones, if this is true, and I believe it is, Micah was offered $61 million more guaranteed dollars than Myles Garrett, $62 million more than Bosa, $82 million more guaranteed dollars than TJ Watt, and almost $100 million more guaranteed dollars than Max Crosby. What? Micah. You should have said, heck yes, Jerry. You should have said, thank you, Jerry. You should have said, bless you, Jerry. You should have just reached across the deck and said, deal. Again, I'm guesstimating Jerry offered around $190 million guaranteed. Okay, so now let's go big picture. Let's go to the top. Josh Allen now leads the NFL with his new deal at $250 million guaranteed. He obviously is a quarterback. Followed by Dak, at $231 guaranteed. Deshaun at $230, as you remember. Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert at $219, and Trevor Lawrence at $200 million guaranteed. So if Micah had said yes to $190 million guaranteed, he would now rank next on this list, the overall list, at number 7, ahead of all the other quarterbacks I haven't yet mentioned. If Micah were at $190 million guaranteed, that would be more than, you ready for this? Lamar Jackson at $185. Brock Purdy in his new deal at $183. Jalen Hurts, who should have won 2 Super Bowls, at $179. Jared Goff at $171. Tua at $167. Jordan Love and Kyler down at $160. And Patrick Mahomes all the way down at $141 million guaranteed to Micah's $190. That is correct. Micah Parsons would have been guaranteed about $50 million more dollars than Patrick Mahomes. Think about it. What? Micah. If that had happened, right here, right now, Jerry Jones would no longer be an object of ridicule for not paying Micah. No, he'd be an international laughingstock for overpaying Micah. This deal would have been derisively dubbed March Madness by Jerry Jones. If that 190-ish guaranteed million figure is right, and I believe it is, Then Jerry reached all right. He reached all the way from Dallas to Point Barrow, Alaska. He crazy reached. He wacky, kooky reached for his grandson, Micah Parsons. Man, Micah should have read the room, realized he had Granddaddy Jerry right where he wanted him, and said, "Thank you, sir." Then he should have called his agent from the car on the way home. He should have then hammered out, 3 or 4 more key deal points over the phone with the agent. He should have called Jerry back first thing the next morning, played on Jerry's celebratory euphoria. Jerry probably would have partied all night off that one. And then over the phone, Micah, representing himself, should have finessed through those 3 or 4 more key deal points as best he could without his agent. I have no doubt under that circumstance, Jerry would have just kept caving to Micah. That phone call could have ended with Micah and Jerry planning the big press conference to announce the big new deal for the day after tomorrow. That's how that call would have ended. But now, it's pretty obvious. Jerry still obviously remains a little, if not a lot, raw. That Micah said no to Granddaddy's landmark offer back in March, man-to-man, one-on-one in the office. So, will Jerry still wind up breaking the bank and the cowboy cap from Micah, who has disappeared in so many big games, as I've detailed, including those 2 playoff games against San Francisco and that one against Green Bay? From Micah, who got worn down and faded down the stretch of the 22 and 23 seasons, as I have detailed relentlessly. A Micah who has become a ghost of a liability against the run as the Cowboys got blown off the field early last season by the Saints and the Ravens. Go look it up. Yeah, if you push me and press me, I do believe Jerry will dangerously overpay for Micah before this is all said and done. And that will lead to Micah slowly crumbling under the pressure to live up to his new deal. But will Jerry wind up paying Micah the almost $200 million guaranteed dollars he says he offered back in March? I'm going to bet no on that one. In fact, I'm still holding out hope that Jerry hangs in and holds on and puts some screws to Micah. You know, Jerry could, the way to play this for Jerry, if he's still really raw, he could make Micah play out his deal. He's not going to trade him. Make him play out his 5th year of his rookie contract this coming season, and then he's got 2 franchise tags he could strap on him. He hit Dak with one. He could do that. He could hold on to him till 2028 if he so chose. Micah would not be happy. It's still pretty big money, pretty good money, but it ain't no almost $200 million guaranteed. So Micah had his chance. He had his March moment. Maybe he had Jerry's senior moment. And Micah failed to cash in when the chips were pushed to the middle of that table. Whew. Only in America, with America's team, owned and operated by Gerald Wayne Jones. Often my worst nightmare. Whew. By the way, Ernestine and I, my wife Ernestine and I, we know our protein bars. We rely heavily on protein bars for meal replacement, for snacks. She always has a couple in her purse, and I take a couple with me every time I play golf. So we pretty much know what we're talking about when it comes to evaluating protein bars. And I have been shocked by how good David protein bars are. Very high in protein. I can't get enough protein, but low in calories. hard combo to find out there. I'm hooked on the blueberry, chocolate fudge, peanut butter. To me, they're as good as any candy bar I've ever had. And does David ever have a deal for my viewers and listeners right here, right now? Buy 4 cartons and get the 5th one free at David Protein. That's all one word, davidprotein.com/ my first name Skip, SKIP. That's davidprotein.com/SKIP to get your 5th carton free. Humans aren't perfect, but David is. Okay. Now allow me to tell you why I now feel sorry for LeBron James. Luca just LeBron. Just fed him some of his own PR medicine, which made LeBron shrink and go quiet and all but disappear. Oh yeah, there was a couple of days before Luca signed, those pictures LeBron posted of him working out at the Clippers facility. A childish picture, a sad picture of him working out at the Clippers facility with an even sadder caption that said, you ready for this? We'll see what happens when I no longer exist. Man, F this SHHHHHH. Man, that just sounded bitter, sadly bitter. And I can't blame him. As LeBron posted those pictures earlier this past week, Luca was in the process of flexing on LeBron the way LeBron has often flexed on so many co-stars of his. Luca, as you know now, went crash diet boot camp in Croatia and outshaped even LeBron. He even outshaped LeBron. He did Luca in a magazine cover glance, even more ripped than LeBron. I don't know, there may have been some photoshopping going on there. But Luca even did a media manipulation number on LeBron, the ultimate media manipulator. Luca hand-fed this I'm finally in great shape story to Men's Journal cover, Men's Health. And then LeBron, for the first time, did one of the morning non-sports TV shows. He did the Today Show to talk about his new body, new approach, new life, soon to be new contract. He did all of this just in time to sign a huge new 3-year deal on the very first day the Lakers could offer said deal. For Laker Nation, it's now Matthew, Mark, Luca, and John. Luca is now the gospel, the future, and the present. The new face of this Hollywood franchise that gave us West and Wilt, Magic and Kareem, Shaq and Kobe. LeBron was reportedly hurt and angry that the Lakers wouldn't extend him for 2 more years before he chose to opt in for this coming season at $52.6 million. I can't get over that. That's as he turns 41 in year 23. This after his last 3 Laker playoffs have ended in shame, absolute abject shame, not fame, shame. LeBron James is 2-12 in his last 14 Laker playoff games that have included a parade of fourth quarter flameouts, as I have detailed. So it's starting to strongly feel like the Lakers would have been fine if LeBron had just gone ahead and opted out and gone elsewhere. They would have been fine with that. And it smells like they've already decided to move on from LeBron after the next season, in which they are stuck with LeBron at $52.6 million. Now, I guess that could change if LeBron somehow leads the Lakers on a deep playoff run this next year. But the truth is, for the first time in his career, LeBron's suddenly thrust into a contract year, a contract drive year. He's actually playing for a contract because it's pretty clear to me he does not want to finish his career anywhere but in Hollywood, where he's building his forever home high above the city that will be home to his second career in the entertainment world. He wants to stay here, finish here as a Laker. It's clear to me. And yet, if the Lakers did bring him back for one more year after next year, there is no way they're going to pay him 50 or 60 million more again. They can if they want to win, and as Luca's salary starts to escalate, they just can't. He won't be worth it. So LeBron James, think about this, is almost certainly left with a very difficult decision. He can plan to shop himself in free agency next year after this coming season. And I don't know, maybe end his career back in Cleveland, maybe with the Knicks, maybe with Steph and the Warriors, who knows. Maybe he'd even try to hook on with KD and the Rockets, depending on the outcome of this coming season, wherever he might be able to win one more ring, even as a third or fourth star. But if deep down LeBron doesn't want to finish anywhere else but in LA, then what's left? If the Lakers say no, is it Clippers or bust? Reunite with Ty Lue, with whom obviously LeBron won his last real championship back in Cleveland. Now, this is contingent on the Clippers wanting him. I don't know that they would. But even if they did want him, it's not going to be for 50 or 60 million bucks, not with their cap situation. I don't know. I guess that's why LeBron was posting pictures working out at the Clippers facility. Maybe he was starting to beg them, but he was definitely huffing and puffing and bluffing the Lakers. I'm sure Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka just chuckled at all that. I seriously doubt they're afraid of what might happen if LeBron joined the Clippers, and this would be in 2 seasons, at age 42 in year 24. So the cold shoulder the Lakers are turning to LeBron just might be forcing him to consider one other last gasp option. That would be to go ahead and announce his coming retirement just before this coming season starts. Think about this. No doubt LeBron wants a big farewell tour in which he'd be celebrated and worshiped and showered with gifts each time he played his last game in every city in the NBA. So at some point soon, he might just have to throw up his hands, if not throw up his breakfast, and say, F it. I want to retire as a Laker, so I guess I have to do it this season. Man, this is all very sad because for the first time, LeBron James can't completely control his fate. He can't utterly, completely call his own shots the way he always has so successfully. He and Luca are trading places. Luca is turning into LeBron, and he's turning into LeBron on and off the court as well as in the court of public opinion. LeBron is a victim of Luca using some of LeBron's old tricks on LeBron. Luca learned from the master. Breakfast of Champions. By the way, I just read this quote in The Athletic from Sixers GM Daryl Morey about whether the Lakers' bubble championship deserves an asterisk. The quote is from Daryl Morey, everyone I speak to around the league privately agrees that it doesn't truly hold up as a genuine championship, said Daryl Morey about the many people he keeps in touch with around the league. By the way, I said exactly that from the start. But then after I read that Daryl Morey quote in The Athletic, it was followed by the opinions of 17 straight The Athletic basketball staffers, every one of whom said that the 2020 pandemic title did not deserve an asterisk. Probably all LeBron fans. Time out. What has happened to LeBron again and again and again and again and again in the playoffs since that Mickey Mouse championship in 2020? Year after year, the excuse the media gives LeBron James is, well, he just ran out of gas. So what happened in 2020? He got 4 months off before the bubble, before the playoffs. Then he did not have to endure long flights and road playoff games in the bubble. No, LeBron smelled one last easy title in the bubble because he knew most of the rest of the contenders just couldn't take being quarantined for that long. What did my man Jared Dudley say about the Clippers, who were a little better than those Lakers in 2020? Jared Dudley said, them boys did not want to be in that bubble. They did not. And they crumbled with a 3-1 lead over Denver. The bubble was more about enduring psychologically than the usual proving you're the best team with the physical and mental toughness required immediately after a long, hard 82-game regular season grind to win playoff series after playoff series after playoff series. This bubble business was night and day different from the normal NBA playoffs. Everyone Daryl Morey speaks to around the league is exactly right. This was a cubic zirconia ring. You know it, LeBron. And I sure know it and knew it from the start. When shoppers choose to buy your products, turn them into loyal customers with cheaper, faster, and better shipping. Go to ShipStation.com and use the code SKIP, my first name, SKIP, to sign up for your free trial with my name. There's no credit card or contract required. You can cancel anytime. That's ShipStation.com, code SKIP. This Caitlyn Clark saga just gets stranger and stranger. I just find Caitlyn's entire second season just inexplicably baffling. Think about this. She had played 185 straight games through college in her rookie WNBA season. 185 straight without missing one because of injury. And now this season, she has missed games 4 different times with various leg pulls, including the last 7 and the All-Star game and the All-Star weekend in her house in Indy. And there's no timetable for her return from this groin pull, so the team says. And don't look now, but her Indiana Fever have won 5 in a row to rise to 17-12. That's 5th best in the league. And yep, I'm sure her critics, many of them veteran WNBA players, are now rolling their eyes and saying, told you, overrated. Not so fast. The Fever were 8-5 with Caitlyn Clark, and they're now 9-7 without Caitlyn Clark. Hey, you put Caitlyn Clark back at the controls of this team with this depth, and the Fever could win it all. They could. They could win it all. 15 games remain before the playoffs commence on September 14th. So the clock is ticking, if not running out, on Caitlyn Clark. But of course, if she did return, and she did take over this team, and she did take it on a deep playoff run, that would have to be a healthy Caitlyn, healthy physically, healthy mentally. And I have no idea what is really going on with her body or her mind. Is it possible that this time she tore her groin so badly that she's already been privately ruled out for the rest of the season? Yet the league wants to keep the media and the fans in the dark about this so that people keep tuning in, figuring, oh, she'll be back soon. Is that what's going on? Maybe. All-Star game ratings were down 36% from last year when she did play. This year, no play. This year, she played assistant coach and bench cheerleader throughout the game. And I'm here to tell you, if she hadn't been actively participating in her street clothes role as the bench coach and cheerleader, I'll swear those ratings would have been down another 10%. I know I watched in part to just see how she was reacting to what was going on the court. When it comes to box office and Nielsen's, she is her. Undoubtedly, inarguably her. But what I can't figure out is which came first, the chicken or the goose eggs in her three-point shooting columns. Did all this start, stop from all these injuries just derail her rhythm, her shooting rhythm, and pretty soon her confidence? I mean, I'll say it again. Caitlyn is mired in an awful slump. She's 2 of 35 from three on the road so far this year. Overall from three, she's shooting only 27.9%. That ranks 61st out of 62 qualified three-point shooters in this league. 61st out of 62. She's making only 36.7% from the floor, which ranks 57th in the league. She was a 91% free throw shooter last season. She's down to 82 this season. What? Now, she is second in assists per game in the league, but here we go again. She's a runaway last in turnovers per game. But you know what? I have a hard time watching these games without her. I'll still watch the Fever quite a bit. I watched the fourth quarter Sunday. But I'm watching in part to gauge how she's reacting to their ups and their downs. How she's coaching, she's cheerleading. Then again, I have wondered out loud if maybe Caitlyn Clark has taken a couple of injury breaks just because she needed a mental break from all the jealousy, all the resentment, all the on-court bullying, cheap shots she takes, all of which might have just overwhelmed her and helped send her into a shooting slump. But I'm just speculating from a distance. I don't know. I just know that Caitlyn Clark's second season in this league that she is fueling, is getting curiouser and curiouser. By the way, you should ditch the other hiring sites and let ZipRecruiter find what you're looking for, that needle in the haystack. ZipRecruiter. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. You can try it for free at this exclusive web address. ZipRecruiter, all together, ZipRecruiter.com/ my first name Skip. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/Skip. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Okay, think about this for a second. What were the odds that a white kid from Oklahoma City, whose parents didn't even finish high school, would wind up working closely on national TV with 2 black brothers? I'm talking about literal brothers from rural Glenville, Georgia, who are now the first ever brothers in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. What were the odds? Was I ever blessed to work first with Sterling Sharpe on ESPN and 20 years later with Shannon Sharpe on FS1? I got to know Sterling pretty well, maybe very well, when he was forced to quit football after just 7 seasons because of a spinal injury. It was awful. That first year out, he joined a show I'd been part of for the previous 5 years with Michael Wilbon and Mitch Albom. It's called Prime Monday, ahead of Monday Night Football. Sterling was 3 years older than Shannon. Ironically, Sterling had shunned the limelight as a player, had refused to talk to the media as a player. Shannon, of course, was always the go-to interview in the Broncos and the Ravens locker rooms. Shannon was the strongest, most vocal voice in those locker rooms, team spokesman for those teams. Sterling didn't have much, if any, of Shannon's showmanship. Sterling was never the character Shannon can be when Shannon turns on his considerable charisma. Yet, trust me on this, Sterling's voice was just as powerful as Shannon's. When Sterling chose to deploy it on television, and both Sterling and Shannon do know their football. Both can really talk ball. Hey, both these Sharpe brothers can really, really talk on television, talk with big passion, big emotion. What times I had with them both. What were the odds they'd both make it to the Hall of Fame? What, zillions to 1? Seriously, zillions to 1. And Saturday, as I watched Sterling and Shannon up on that stage in Canton, made me for a moment think about me and my little brother Rick back in Oklahoma City, somehow rising up out of that little 2-bedroom, 1-bath house on 43rd Street, surviving a broken home, doused with alcohol, doing pretty well for ourselves. Not Sterling and Shannon well, but pretty well. My brother is one of the country's best-known chefs and restaurateurs in Chicago. I've had my moments in sports media. I guess from what I've heard, what I've been told, Sterling and Shannon's dad wasn't around. If only our dad hadn't been around. Life is strange. Life is great. Congratulations, Sterling Sharpe. You will now live forever in Canton alongside your brother. Okay, suffer me this. I close with something I just have to get off my chest. I cannot stress to you how offended I was by Happy Gilmore 2, which is, I give you this, setting records on Netflix for viewership. Yeah, I was offended by the original 2, but it took a while for that to become sort of a cult classic. When the original first came out, 1996, Roger Ebert gave it 1.5 stars out of 4. My man Owen Gleiberman gave it a D+ in Entertainment Weekly. Happy Gilmore 2 has been an instant classic for millions and millions of viewers, in part because it must have set the all-time record for cameos. And I must admit, Bad Bunny was very good as Happy's sort of waiter caddy. Just have to see the movie. And among the many golf stars in the movie, Scotty Scheffler, the best of the current crop, just stole the show by showing more self-deprecating personality than he ever lets us glimpse in real life. Way to go, Scotty. And look, let me say this about Adam Sandler. He obviously has comedic genius, and reportedly he does play golf, but I just do not get the appeal of this character that Adam created and plays. This character is anything but happy, and I don't get this script's scathing attack on a game I so deeply love and honor and respect. I mean, Caddyshack, my favorite golf movie, is 18 times funnier than Happy Gilmore 1 and 2 combined. But Caddyshack laughs with golf. Happy Gilmore laughs at golf. And at the rotten core of 1 and 2 is Adam Sandler's character, this sour, foul sociopath who's always a hair trigger away from committing felony assault on anyone who crosses his path, crosses him. That's funny? Not to me. In Happy 2, or maybe I should call it Unhappy 2, Happy Gilmore has 4 psycho hooligans for sons, all highly capable of stabbing each other in the eye with a fork at the dinner table. And that's funny? I'm sorry, not to me. And living in their garage is John Daly, pretty much playing himself as a broken down alcoholic. That's just not funny to me. I'm sorry, not funny. But I guess this was the only way to get the Dumb and Dumber crowd to watch a quote-unquote golf movie. Look, I readily admit, as my wife will attest, I take golf way too seriously. It's the world's hardest game. It's extremely difficult to play well consistently. It comes and suddenly, for no apparent reason, it just goes. Almost mystically, it's gone and you can't find it or fix it. The hole and the little ball, they're just so small that 1/1000th of an inch of a bad strike can mean the difference between a birdie putt and a lost ball in the water or the woods. It's like 1/1000th can turn a slight draw into a slight fade and a lost ball. Nothing I've ever experienced in any sport has given me the satisfaction that a purely struck golf shot, a compressed golf ball, can give me, because I know how hard it is. I know golf history. I do know it. Ben Hogan once wrote me a letter. I was friends with Byron Nelson. I interviewed Jack Nicklaus one-on-one several times. And, yeah, well, Tiger Woods once told me to fuck off, but that's a whole nother story. Happy Gilmore makes a mockery of golf. Now, you can argue that's what LIV and the TGL are doing right here, right now, but the PGA Tour still takes golf seriously. The major championships take golf seriously. The PGA Tour plays golf the right way, respects the game in which competitors actually call penalties on themselves and do so regularly. Then we have Happy Gilmore getting that running start to hit his tee shots. Nobody does that, not in pro golf. And by the way, we never see Happy hit any irons. I don't know if he hits them with a running start or not, but I guess he doesn't need his irons because he drives the green on every par 4 and I guess par 5, although in Unhappy 2, they're only playing 7 holes at a time. And as you know, Unhappy plays in this oversized Bruins hockey jersey, the baggy pants, the work boots. He putts with a hockey stick. I guess that was amusing for about 5 minutes, the original Happy Gilmore. Hockey stick putting. Okay. I give you this. I realize golf needs to appeal more to the kids with shorter and shorter attention spans. So I guess shorter and shorter fuses with Happy and his kids is one way to pull in the kids. But tilt-a-whirl greens that move like this, machine-driven greens that keep moving like this. Hey, making putts on real greens is so hard and so cool that's enough for me. If you've ever tried to actually play golf and putt on the greens at Augusta National, talk about roller coaster greens. I've been there. I've done that. I know. I don't need machine-driven tilt-a-whirl greens. I guess the Happy Gilmore movies are aimed more at people who have never played golf and never, ever will play golf. That's fine. But here's what really turned my stomach. True legends of the game of golf, Jack Nicklaus and Lee Trevino, actually sold out and stooped to participate in this blasphemous ridiculing of golf. They participated by delivering these lame jokes they were given that just fell flat to me. I don't know. I don't get it. I did get that the Ricky Fowlers and the Spieths and the DeChambeaus, I could more readily understand that they wanted to be a part of this, but the hit rate on their jokes was also about 1 out of 10. There's so many throwaway lines. It felt like this script was written in about 2 days. But hey, if you offer somebody enough money and enough exposure, they'll do just about anything. Right, Jack? Right, Lee? They'll do just about anything, regardless of how bad it makes the game that has been so good to them look. Thanks, Jack. Thanks, Lee, for giving this so much credibility it did not deserve. Look, I'll also give you this. A few of the sight gags worked. The physical comedy, the Three Stooges stuff, a couple of things worked where it made me laugh. I got you. The trash talk on the public course. The guy running across the range while they're all shooting at him and they start drilling him. It's funny. Okay, I'll give you, but it's about a 1 out of 10 hit rate. I ultimately found Unhappy Gilmore 2 just painful to watch. And I watched it all. I did, to the bitter end. If you want a movie that really gets golf, that really honors golf, that actually worships golf, watch Bagger Vance. I realize that some black people did not love that deep South way that Will Smith played his character, the caddy Bagger Vance. I got that when I saw it the first time. I saw that. I understand that. But in the bigger picture, Will Smith as Bagger Vance was playing a mystical angel who literally comes from nowhere and turns around Matt Damon's golf game and Matt Damon's life. I'm telling you, I cry at the end of Bagger Vance every time I watch it, and I could watch it twice tonight. If you want another movie that gets golf, watch Tin Cup, in which a down-on-his-luck driving range owner from nowhere, Texas, played by Kevin Costner, nearly wins the United States Open. Costner's character treats the game of golf with extreme reverence. He worships the game of golf, even though he can't help attacking par fives without respect or fear, which of course ultimately does him in. He goes for broke and pretty much winds up pretty broke. But hey, in the end, he gets the girl, his psychiatrist, played by Rene Russo, who was some consolation prize. Whew. Caddyshack, Bagger Vance, Tin Cup. Give me anything but these unhappy Gilmores. Shame on you, Jack Nicklaus. Shame on you, Lee Trevino. By the way, Tiger Woods was conspicuously absent from Unhappy 2. Good for Tiger. I guess Tiger pretty much told Unhappy 2 to fuck off too. That's it for this episode. Thanks to Tyler Korn for producing, to Ernestine for overseeing, and to Hazel for approving.